Viewers, you can pay for education, but that doesn't guarantee that the education that you pay for will make you wiser or more knowledgeable. And that has been proven today, viewers, in the most graphic fashion. Focus to the right of your screens tonight. I never imagined we'd reach a point where a protest on pollution in the national capital was hijacked and turned into an open celebration of a dreaded Maoist terrorist. Yes, a group of ultra-left university students gathered at the C hexagon near India Gate, just touching distance of the Amar Jawan Jyoti, viewers. But instead of adding their voice to a campaign against pollution, they started chanting slogans, praising the de facto Osama bin Laden of terrorist, viewers, in this country, a person called Hidma, Madvi Hidma, who was killed in an encounter about 10 days ago, or within the last 10 days, viewers. A man with a 1 crore bounty on his head, a man who is responsible for the murder of not just more than 100 security personnel, but also pretty much the entire top leadership of the Congress party about 10 to 12 years ago, viewers. Viewers, this is free speech, where students come out and say, Madvi Hidma Amar Rahe. The struggle of our forests and environment will go on if people like Hidma are alive and kicking, viewers. Listen to this.
हिडमा एक आदिवासी व्यक्ति हैं जिन्होंने अपने हक के लिए हथियार उठाए थे. नाउ पीपल कैन डिसएग्री विद दैट मेथड. वो कह सकते हैं कि ये तरीका गलत है, लेकिन वो यह नहीं कह सकते कि जिस कारण से आदिवासियों को हथियार उठाने पड़ रहे हैं अपने हक के लिए लड़ने के लिए, वो गलत है. जल जंगल जमीन की लड़ाई के लिए नारे लगना एनवायरनमेंट से बहुत ही क्लोजली कनेक्टेड है. ये जल जंगल जमीन की जो लड़ाई है, जो कॉमन मासेस की लड़ाई है, और साथ में जो इस टॉक्सिक एयर के खिलाफ वो लड़ाई इंट्रिकेटली जुड़ी हुई है. ये बहुत जुड़ी हुई लड़ाई है.
Viewers, just listen to these. Listen to this slogan. Pay attention. And now look at these posters, viewers. All eulogizing a Maoist territory. In case you have forgotten, let me remind you that Hidma is the man who led some of the deadliest attacks on our soldiers in the Red Corridor. A man with a 1 crore bounty on his head, involved in at least 27 armed operations against the Indian state, in which hundreds of Indian Jawans were martyred. India's most wanted Maoist commander. He was the chief of the CPI Maoist deadliest strike unit, one of the youngest in the Maoist central panel. Mastermind behind major ambushes in Bastar, key plotter of the Jhiram Valley and Sukma attacks, known for brutal tactics. I mean, viewers, this man, as I said, was no less than the Osama bin Laden of internal Indian terrorism. And where did these eulogies happen? Let's cut to those pictures. Where did these eulogies happen, viewers? Let's split the screens. And I'm going to show you, viewers, you will see the war memorial. You will see the Amar Jawan Jyoti. That is where these eulogies are happening. Within touching distance of the Amar Jawan Jyoti, the flame that honors soldiers who died defending this very nation, that Hidma sought to tear apart. So viewers, it is happening within touching distance of a memorial built to honor those who have been murdered by individuals like Hidma. The irony is stark. It's a cruel insult to our martyred soldiers and their grieving families, to their children. But when the students were asked to stop, they attacked the police, allegedly with pepper spray, which is why the students were taken into custody. Yes, viewers, the protesters used pepper spray on the police. They block roads and public areas. Some raise long, as I said, live Hidma slogans. Posters commending Hidma's killing display. India Gate, a non-permitted protest site. More than this, these students even vowed to resurrect the so-called Jantana Sarkar, the parallel Maoist government that ruled parts of the Red Corridor for decades. Today, after Hidma's death, the state has finally reclaimed this territory. But while the Maoist citadel has fallen, the ideology clearly hasn't. On campuses, a new romanticism around violent revolution is rising, not rooted in civil rights, not rooted in democratic reform, but in a global trend of radical activism that sees violence as the only route to change. You've seen it in America, and it is going to come here, viewers. This is just the precursor. The belief that nothing improves unless institutions are destroyed has now permeated these minds. It is surprising then that our own mini provocateurs ended up glorifying a terrorist. It's not at all. Yet when the police acted, a familiar set of liberal grandees, big names, rushed to complain about the, quote, chilling effect, unquote, on free speech. Yes, young people, viewers, no one is denying this, must explore ideas. They must be exposed to new ones. They must question, dissent, rebel. But experimentation has limits, and the limit is law, which since I last checked, punishes advocating violence against the nation state, viewers. Which is what these people are doing. Let's open this out, viewers. I want to begin with Dr. Sunny Dhiman, who's here with us. Another professor, very noted professor of Delhi University. Professor Muni. Very accomplished, very learned professor from Delhi University, who I'm sure will be very happy that Hidma was killed, because obviously Hidma had raised the gun against the Indian state, and any sensible, law-abiding, intelligent, wise person knows that that's not a democratic route. And I'm sure that because he nurtures the next generation, Gen Z, viewers, he must be very, 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 very critical of violence, because he's a committed liberal Democrat and so on and so forth. So we'll come to Professor Muni, but I want to begin with Sunny Dhiman. Sunny Dhiman, can I ask you a fundamental question tonight? Do you agree with these slogans that are being chanted by these youth? I can't hear you. Can I ask you my question again? Did you
I've
hear
already
me?
heard your question, but you can repeat.
No, go ahead. I'll ask you the question. Do you agree with them? And do you see that this is all happening within the vicinity of Amar Jawan Jyoti, a place where India's martyrs are honored, and some of them who have died facing people like Hidma and other enemies of the state? So I'm sure that you'd have a problem with these students who hijacked a anti-pollution protest to do this. Please, your views, sir.
Good evening, Rahul.
Good evening.
I'm live from McLeodganj. I just came from my Vipassana retreat.
Fantastic.
I'm very high on oxygen because the air is very clean here.
Brilliant.
And my head is clean because of this Vipassana retreat. And all I can see, this is not a political case study about these lunatic students. This is a medical case study. What happens when you mix 900 AQI with bad quality ganja? They don't know about the reality. They don't know about Bassa. They don't know about anything. They even didn't read about Cobalt Gandhi, the biggest Maoist thinker, who has written a very important book which exposed the whole Maoist movement, how pathetic it is. A big Maoist leader has written a book from the jail. They don't read. They are high on their own fantasies. Maybe this is a case study of, when you are perpetually exposed to high AQI and also this bad quality stuff. But the thing is, Rahul, which I'm really feeling sad today, that every minute we waste screaming about these people like Hidma. Hidma has ruined the whole Congress leadership in Chhattisgarh.
Yeah.
Hidma has been a terrorist.
Yes.
And as Buddha said, hate begets hate, terror begets terror. So there is no such
Can I
space
ask you a question?
for eulogizing
I'm very happy that
Hidma
you've taken
and
this
any other
position. You're a
person.
Congress leader. And I have to ask you a question then. There is a Congress leader from Telangana, the president of the state unit, who has come out and said that Hidma should not have been killed. There are other Congress leaders who say that they oppose this encounter culture.
Yeah.
That we should not be eliminating these terrorists. We should allow them to surrender so that they can live amongst us, live off us, regroup, and then mount another insurgency. I know that there is a program. I'm opposed to it completely, viewers. These people should be jailed. If they give up the gun, it's not because they're giving up because they have suddenly had a change of heart. No, viewers. They're just running for their lives. They're scared. And therefore, they're submitting, supplicating before the Indian state. The Indian state should give them such a kick straight into gaol, into jail. But I want to ask you, why is the Congress so sympathetic?
Congress is not sympathetic. I'm just telling you my own lived experience when I was a researcher in my MPhil district.
Well, so then how do you explain what this Telangana...
Yeah, I'll explain
one second. Let me... No,
I was in Telangana.
let me read out what the... No, 1 second, sir. Let me read out... Let me at least read out, sir. Maybe you don't know. You've been...
Let me tell you, if you're asking me as a Congress ideologue, I'll give you the answer as a Congress ideologue. I'm telling you, if you kill these terrorists, you are making them martyr. And if you bring them into the mainstream, as Kowal Gandhi has came back to mainstream and he has exposed whole Maoist movement, there will not be no more Maoist. They will not, bring more people, bring more youth into their fold. Now you are killing these kind of people and you are making them revolutionary. You are making them, a martyr. This will not help.
So there's no
movement.
difference between...
That is why. And I personally have met many people who have surrendered their weapon when I was in Telangana. I was doing my field work.
Now, viewers, just a minute. Brilliant, sir. You have such a bleeding heart. You said that you're in a very clear space. No, 1 second. You're in a very clear space, breathing very clear air. I hope you haven't become an airhead because you're sounding like an airhead.
Maybe like too much oxygen is bad.
Yes, I think you're just your mind is emptied. Yeah, so just a minute, viewers. This is preposterous. The punishment in the Indian state for picking up a weapon against the Indian state and killing.
So they are already surrendering.
1 second, sir. That doesn't matter.
Hundreds
that doesn't matter. They should be brought to book.
Surrendered in
Let me open this up. Let me open this up.
I'm not saying that he should not be killed.
So viewers, just let me quote. Okay, sir. Let me. Okay, Sunny Demon. Let me quote what the Congress Telangana Congress President and MLC Mahesh Kumar Gaud.
My position is that I'm not in favor of Hidma.
Sir, you're not an eye specialist. You represent a group. They have a particular point of view, which I'm expressing. You might think you're very important. 1 second.
RSS, we don't toe a line. We are a democratic system.
Yeah.
We don't toe a line.
Yes.
We might have a difference of opinion. This is my opinion. We are not RSS. We don't toe a line. We are not Andhbhagat. We are not.
Okay. Have you said your piece? Great. Now just calm down. Viewers, this is very strange that they don't toe a line. Do you know for the last 10 days there has been a drama playing out in Delhi where the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister of a state called Karnataka, one of the biggest, richest states, has been running up and down asking the High Command, just tell us who we should induct into our cabinet and who should be the Chief Minister for the next 2.5 years. This is how regimented that party is, viewers. And you're talking about people who toe a line, they can't even depend on their own instincts, their own wherewithal and their own wisdom to appoint their own cabinet colleagues, and these are elected members, viewers, representatives of the people of Karnataka. ये तो इनकी democracy है. Now, some of you say I don't speak for them. Okay, lower your fader. Telangana Congress President and MLC Mahesh Kumar Daud has come out and said the killing of these Maoists by the police. Sir, stop speaking over me. Stop speaking over me. Can you lower his fader? I'm counting till 3. 1, 2, 3. Over. The killing of these Maoists by the police looks like false and staged encounters. The Congress party condemns these killings and violence in any form, whether from the police or even from the Maoists. Be it Hidma, Keshav Rao or Ganpati, these leaders should be respected. They may have taken up arms, but there is a reason behind it. So viewers, you're even supplying a rationale. Same things have been said By the way, viewers, about the Al-Falah module by Congress leaders, that, oh, you know, this has been done, this radicalization is happening because these people are not treated well in their own country, they're discriminated against and so on and so forth. The Congress has completely lost it, viewers. They've completely lost it. And that is really a problem. Now, let's just open this up very quickly, very quickly. I want the BJP national spokesman to respond. Dr. Ranganathan is here with us. He'll be up against Professor Muni, the incomparable Professor Muni. Yes.
Okay. You know, Rahul, the most scary thing is being on your show, and when you start that countdown 1, 2, 3, you know, I start getting jittery. But anyway, on a more serious note, I just have this to say. You know, on every debate with respect to Naxalism, every time the Darbari ecosystem asks me, what has Amit Shah done? What has Narendra Modi done? So I will come to, you know, what Dr. Sunny Dhiman said. But your audience needs to know that in the last 9 months alone, more than 2,100 Naxalites have surrendered. More than 1,785 Naxalites have been arrested. And yes, Rahul, more than 477 Naxalites were neutralized because they refused to give up arms. And let me tell you, when you pick up arms against the Indian state, the might of the Indian state is being challenged and the whip will be cracked. No ifs, no buts whatsoever. That's my first rebuttal. My second rebuttal is I'm not surprised by what Mr. Sunny Dhiman said. You know, he was giving you this goal, you know, getting into a rigmarole and not coming clean. अफजल हम शर्मिंदा हैं, तेरे कातिल जिंदा हैं, भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे इंशाअल्लाह इंशाअल्लाह, गुस्ताके रसूल की एक ही सजा, सरतन से जुदा, सरतन से जुदा. Why am I reading out these slogans? Because these slogans endorse a radical ideology. That radical ideology could be about political Islam. That radical ideology could also have a lot to do with Naxalism and Maoist insurgency. And every time the Congress Darbari ecosystem says, why was Burhan Wani killed? He was a poor headmaster's son. Who's Osama bin Laden? He's a very famous theologist. This is the same Darbari ecosystem which knocked on the doors of the Supreme Court at 2 a.m. said Yaqub Memon ko फांसी की सजा ना दी जाए. And they participated in Hod during his janaza. And I want to say one thing, please. Do you remember very quickly? 31st December 2017, there was the Elgar Parishad event at Bhima Koregaon with a plan to assassinate Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And I was on various debates, and the Darbari ecosystem would laugh and say, "Arey nahi, ek chota sa event tha." You know, Narendra Modi has this habit of being in the limelight. Even the so-called attempted assassination of a sitting Prime Minister was mocked at and made light of by the Darbari ecosystem. Who's Gautam Navlakha? Who's Arun Ferreira? Vernon Gonzalez? Mahesh Rao? Sudha Bhardwaj? Jyoti Jagtap? Rona Wilson? These are people who have been charge-sheeted. And they're all, one of them is a professor, somebody is a human rights activist, somebody is a journalist, somebody is a lawyer, somebody is a researcher, somebody is an NGO wala, and these are all people who are favorites of the Darbari ecosystem.
Okay, so you have a conflation taking place. Dr. Ranganathan, you see Sunny Dhiman, the very bright airhead who is here with us, he is showing us this signal of some AQI or something or the other. I can't quite figure out what it is. But he says, AQI. I understand AQI is a big concern, viewers. Terrible. It's absolutely terrible, horrid. We're living in a gas chamber and something needs to break very quickly. One understands that. But I want to ask you, Doctor, how does AQI, what connection does an AQI protest have with resurrecting and eulogizing the memory of a terrorist?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. We must be under no illusion at all that all these protests have erupted regarding pollution, because after 10 years, Delhi is under BJP. During the time Kejriwal was controlling, not just Delhi, but also Punjab, all these guys were not protesting on the streets. They were, as Sunny said, having some something, as he put it, as bad stuff. I don't know what he means by bad stuff, smoking. Maybe he has access to good stuff. But look, let's get on the issue here. The issue is not AQI or pollution, because that, of course, needs to be tackled. But the issue is Naxalism and its support on the streets of Delhi, right next to the Amar Jawan Jyoti. The fact of the matter is, calling terrorist Hidma a martyr is astounding. And I would put it in the same category as calling terrorist Afzal Guru a martyr. But then again, we have to accept the painful truth that a country is being run inside this country and that the Naxals and the Maoists are running it. We also have to accept that the bigger country, India, has not been able to defeat this little country, even though year by year the little country is shrinking. In fact, Rahul, we are now entering the most dangerous phase, because the Modi government, led brilliantly by Amit Shah, has to be said, has achieved unprecedented success in tackling this red menace. The red corridor has now shrunk to a red Pakdandi. But the fact remains, Pakdandi remains. And we cannot let our guard down, especially as the mother country is feeding and nourishing this fetus, because the umbilical cord is intact. Rahul, we can win 4 wars against an external enemy, South Asia or Pakistan. We can go and bomb them even in peacetime. But we cannot seem to defeat this internal enemy, this country within a country. Parallels with the fate of America and Vietnam would inevitably be drawn, but let's not go there. Let's focus on this little country that has killed tens of thousands of our bravest Jawans and continues to. This little country has its own defense, its guns and munition and bombs, its own economy through extortion and growing poppy. But most crucially, Rahul, this country has its own foreign service and diplomats. And they are its ultimate strength that allows the Naxals to burn schools, destroy roads and hospitals, and reject our constitution. And these diplomats, these urban and bourbon Naxals, reside in our country and not in the country they support and work for. They rationalize and justify Naxal violence, but cat gets their tongue. When you ask them what 7 lakh Kashmiri Hindus should have done when they were murdered, raped, pillaged, looted, ethnically cleansed, driven out from their own land. You see, Naxals can be Gandhis with guns, as their totem Arundhati Roy once called them affectionately. But Kashmiri Hindus can't be. These are the people who dance at the murder of CRPF Jawans, turn Pol Pots into poet activists, who set the rose-tinted David Goliath media narrative here and abroad. Their every lie has been exposed, their every argument countered. But like a hamster in wheel, they keep paddling this vicious cycle. Making maddening idols out of Maoists can either be because of one's ignorance or moral relativism, but being congenital hypocrites. In their case, it is both. The Pfizing Nigerian widow who wants to give away their recently discovered inheritance is more trustworthy than these, I'm sorry to use these words, Islamo-fascist, Hamas-loving, Hindu-hating, commie lunatics.
Well, you know, some people have called them useful idiots. I just want to play out one soundbite. Sanju Verma, please listen to this soundbite. You'll be astounded, viewers. You see, here is an attempt to draw a parallel between an anti-pollution protest and a eulogy to Hidma. Just listen to this, viewers.
इतना ज्यादा एयर पोल्यूशन होने की वजह से सिर्फ दिल्ली में, इसमें हम सब देखते हैं कि इसका रीजन इंपीरियलिस्ट डेवलपमेंट मॉडल है, प्रॉफिट ड्रिवन डेवलपमेंट मॉडल है, ये जनता का डेवलपमेंट मॉडल नहीं है। और हमको जनता का डेवलपमेंट मॉडल लाने की जरूरत है, जो माओइस्ट बीजापुर में लेकर आए हैं, जो माओइस्ट बस्तर में लेकर आए हैं अपने जनता सरकार के थ्रू। वहाँ पर सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट किया जाता है, वहाँ पर महुआली तेंदुपत्ता को सस्टेनेबल तरीके से तोड़ा जाता है, वहाँ पर बाहर के जो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स हैं उनको अंदर नहीं आने देता है, और वहाँ पर जो फार्मिंग होती है वो कलेक्टिव होती है।
There you go, viewers. Imperialist development model versus Maoist sustainable model.
She's a wait-listed Fidain.
Rahul?
Viewers, it is, 1 second, let me just bring in Professor Muni and I'll let you have the last word on this because he's not had a turn. Professor Muni, I'm sure you find a lot of fault with this nonsense that you're hearing as a sensible teacher. And you will back these people and their arrest.
Okay, Rahul ji, of course, I totally agree with you and our authorities
Thank
who
God.
have taken action against these people. Of course, nobody will stand with a Maoist, a terrorist, of course. But let me today there are 2 issues that is on hand. Let me bring you to the second issue also. That what the Delhi BJP president Manoj Tiwari ji said when he said that BJP is committed to creating a pollution-free Delhi after they are brought into power. What Nitin Gadkari said, that I give my word, if you install a BJP engine in the Delhi city government, we will free Delhi from traffic jams and air pollution. What Virendra Sachdeva said, that our sankalp is for Viksit Delhi with clean air. But today the mortality rate has claimed 1 in 7 lives as per government records. The highest recorded AQI in history of Delhi is 1200 in November 2025, recorded under a BJP government. So people are leaving Delhi. लोग छोड़ के जा रहे हैं दिल्ली और हमारी भारतीय जनता
But this has been happening for the last 10 years. Goa में property
नहीं,
prices आपने भी खरीद ली होगी अभी तक तो. Property prices have been going up for the last 10 years. But Professor Muni, 1 second. See, I understand. Look, this is... Okay, 1 second. We should not trivialize pollution. But don't you think these people have trivialized it?
Trivialize pollution.
Do you think these people have trivialized it? These people... 1 second. Do you think these students who have come out and talked about Hidma, they have done a disservice to the movement?
I totally agree with you.
There you go.
That these students don't know what is movement is. But in
No,
the
they
same
know what
way,
a
I must
movement
say,
is,
not a
viewers.
single
And they
political
have the
party-
movement every morning.
Al-Qaeda
They have a movement every
Not a
morning.
single-
And this is the movement.
Listen
This
to
is the
me.
movement.
Not a
This is
single
the
political
parallel that
party
is
has
being
supported
drawn.
have
these
exposed
students.
these people,
But
lost all
interestingly-
barrel.
Interestingly, the professor here will keep quiet on air pollution. He will not target
Oh, come on.
Delhi.
He's the most vocal. He's the most vocal about. आप उनका जरा Twitter handle भी देख लीजिए. It is based in India, not in South Asia. 1 minute, 1 second. Viewers, 1 second, viewers. The point is, it is people like this who take away from the sanctity of a protest on a very important issue. If that is the case, viewers, how is it that the Congress party supports this?
No, you're wrong.
What is that? What is
Congress
wrong?
party has not
The Telangana state unit president has come out.
Has any DPCC secretary has acknowledged his comment?
Arey bhai, what difference does it make?
These are all in
What difference does it make? He's a state unit chief appointed by the Central High Command, because everyone is appointed by the Central High Command.
If today you say something ambiguous,
Sir,
about
has
the
anyone
country,
come out and said this is not in our name? We are distancing ourselves from this person.
God is not supported by me or any Congress.
Why
party
haven't
leader
they come
on
out?
this comment.
Why hasn't the Congress come out and said that we don't support this very important person? Here is the state of Telangana. A large number of these red corridors, Naxal affected districts are there.
During Manmohan Singh government?
Has
Rahul,
any
can I quickly come in?
spokesperson
Yes, very
spoken
quickly.
for him?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Make your point and we'll move on. Yeah.
You know, Rahul, I just want to call out the hypocrisy of, Mr. Akashdeep Muni. He's sitting here and waxing eloquent about the AQI quality. I openly say, please demand accountability from Rekha Gupta, but also demand accountability from Arvind Kejriwal's acolyte Bhagwant Singh Mann, who's the chief minister of Punjab.
Arvind Kejriwal is
I did not heckle you. Keep quiet now. Shut up. Rahul, let's be very clear. 49,600 fires in Punjab. Stubble burning incidents, by the way, in 2023. 37,235 incidents of stubble burning in 2024. And I am told provisionally there are already 4,800 incidents of stubble burning in Punjab now. But stubble burning in Punjab is the topic Akashdeep Muni will not discuss. Tab inke muh mein dahi jam jata hai.
ठीक है,
Do you
at
have the
least-
guts to call out Kejriwal's?
Well, he could have for the
Misgovernance in
last 10
Punjab.
years because he was part of the AAP movement 10 years ago. Now he's in the Congress.
That's
So
the move.
he's bought himself a little bit of elbow room on this subject. But let's move on, because you see, one of the reasons that the Congress hasn't come out and